The girls' school that had been bombed last weekend, I was not okay. Immediately, we saw stories and posts and videos about what happened, why it happened, how it made no sense that this was happening, just so much reactivity. And it's interesting because if you pause long enough, you'll notice that all of this soon becomes reactions to people's reactions or lack of reactions. And we get further and further away from the uncomfortable thing or the quiet thing, the emotions around this event. The fear, the anger, the grief, the despair. We don't want to feel it. Hell, I don't either. But it really felt like someone had to feel this loss, or at least I had to. This news stuck with me as I went about my day. I woke up thinking about the children in that school and the parents of the kids, and I went to bed thinking about them. I think grief is really interesting because it's an invitation to stop, to witness. I think especially as parents, and why I'm really advocating for parents really stepping into their creativity, because I think we especially are called to witness the loss of a child in a way that nobody else can really understand. And this just takes space and it takes time. The same with creativity. We have to have some kind of space that we can step into to just acknowledge what's happening emotionally, like what's happening in the world. I think there's just like a lot of power in being able to do that. And in this video, I'm really exploring grief specifically. So in order to do that, I had to sit with my own anxiety and my uneasiness of losing my own child in such a horrible way. And that's really fucking hard to do. I'm just not going to minimize it. It was really hard leading up to making this video and taking this time. I ended up with about an hour of video that I had to edit, and taking that down to about 15 to 18 minutes was pretty challenging. It was also just hard to get started painting and with this idea that I had.
Okay.
Oh, look good?
So small.
It's just small. You want that one or you want this one?
This one.
Okay. So you just need a little bit of water.
Okay. A teeny tiny bit.
And you can use these colors. And I can mix some other colors if you want something different.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we want to be very careful with this paint. Because see, it's very runny. So just take a little bit of the extra off. And then try your best to stay inside the square. Okay?
I'm trying my best.
Yeah, just try your best. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay?
Yeah. Like it always does. It doesn't have to be all perfect.
No. We're just trying to color in all the squares. And just as I was reflecting and thinking about it all, what I really wanted to do to acknowledge this, my daughter came into the room one morning and she asked to snuggle with me. And as I held her, she was safe and warm next to me. I just started to allow some of that grief, that wave of grief, to come through. And I thought about the images of these mothers beating their chests and holding up dusty backpacks. I think grief is really a profound emotion that we get to feel as a human being. Grief in others commands us to pay attention, to look at this tragedy. I think that's what I saw in these mothers and what I see in my clients as well when they're grieving, is to ask the people around them, look at what remains of my love and of my loss. I do feel that the bigger the love, the bigger the loss. So I wanted to honor the 165 children killed in this attack. The numbers keep changing. At the time of editing, the toll was up to 175. These are the first casualties of this war, regardless of your opinions or my opinions on this war or politics. None of that really matters, at least not for the purposes of this video. I think creativity is the bridge. I can make things and honor and grieve and cry and witness in this way, through paint, through drawing, whatever it may be. And I think this is yet another gift of the creative process, is this ability to bear witness to our own emotions as well as the lives of others without, we don't have to be overcome by the emotion necessarily, or like, I guess people are really afraid of wallowing. So you don't have to be in bed, for a day. I mean, you can, but I think creativity gives us this outlet of like, I can move this emotion and honor it and create something with it. As I was creating this piece, I wanted to make each square different from the others to symbolize the unique lives of these children that I'll never meet, will never know. Big personalities, little personalities, class clowns, deep feeling girls like my own daughter. I just thought of these little girls holding their mother's hands as they walked to school together and talking about who they were going to see and what they were going to learn, the same way that I do that with my daughter every morning. It took longer than I expected to mix individual colors. I felt myself rushing. My body really wanted to lean out of this discomfort, which is pretty normal. And at some point in the video, my daughter wakes up from her nap and she asks to join me to help me paint. I was hesitant, obviously, because of the meaning that I was carrying with me as I was creating this. And I was worried I'd have to have a conversation with her about it. She's only 5 years old.
You know I'm sitting on the mushroom.
I did not know that you're sitting on the mushroom. So we have a few more to do over here, and then once these are colored in, we're gonna count all of these because mommy needs 165.
165?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. But ultimately, I just invited her to create alongside of me, which was really powerful for me. My husband was also there, and he mentioned something similar of just like how powerful and how important this felt, but it was also kind of agonizing. And so throughout this video, I think I alternate between like, sharing the audio of like what she was saying. So there is some like, just a little bit of everything. Like, I think I knew what I was doing, what I was sort of wanting to embody with this project. But then I think it's interesting how when we invite other people to create with us, especially kids, like just things can take on a whole new meaning. And you'll hear me sort of instruct her on how to engage with this project. You'll hear her giggle and also her own thoughts on what we were doing. I did keep losing track of the number of squares and having to count them over and over again, which was also really, really challenging. And at one point, you'll see I tell my daughter that we need 165 squares, and she says, 165, that's a lot. And it is a lot. I also wrote a poem to go along with this video. I think I will save it and just sort of make a shorter version of the video that goes with the poem. So I hope, I hope this can open up some space for you if that's what you're needing, that there are people who are grieving this loss and they're doing it in different ways. If you want to also create alongside of me, you're welcome to do that. And just maybe if you want to drop a comment, feel free. I'm still going back and forth if I want to leave comments open. But for now, they're open. If you want to kind of share what your grieving process is looking like, or maybe you're grieving something else, and just how can we lean into some creativity around just the major things that are happening right now, major things in our own lives, major things across the world. So yeah, thanks for being with me and for giving me your attention, giving this your attention. I really appreciate it. Okay, I got 64, I think, on my side.
I need to clean it a little bit.
A little bit.
Always.
Would you sit with me here in the rubble? Can I offer you anything that will take away the bitter sting? A cup of tea. How do you take it? How do we take this? Would you show me her picture, all that remains of her, soft, long hair, and her dark brown eyes? The world gazes upon her end, but I want you to tell me of her beginning. Was she planned or a happy surprise? I want to hear about your stretch marks and back pain. Show me the place where you grew her, safe and in the dark. Tell me, was she a good sleeper? When you looked at her, did you feel the miracle of it all envelop you, as I did? Tell me about her favorite foods, or did she battle with you and refuse to eat vegetables? What of the books she loved and her little voice as she sang her morning prayers? Did she love school as my daughter does? Who were her friends? Did they hold hands on the walk there and hug their teachers as mine does? At this time where no words will be enough to contain the loss of her, in the spaces she once occupied, her life and song and endless words, the magic of her. Nothing will ever be right again, just as your body that made her can never return to what it was before she inhabited you, before she stretched you. Tell me her name again, so I can hold her close and remember her, before the men in suits call her something else and try to rob us of this time. Would you sit with me? Tell me of the universe she designed, of the galaxies in those dark eyes. Let me weep with you. Allow me to catch your tears for as long as they may fall. She is worthy of our time and mourning. So are you, life-bringer. Let me pour your tea and grieve with you, for today it is you, and tomorrow it may be I who loses everything.